Strategist channel. Let's begin with an important question. Is it possible for a fighter jet once hailed as invincible to return to the battlefield with renewed strength? When it comes to the F-22 Raptor, many see it as the very symbol of America's absolute air superiority. A fighter introduced in the 1990s that set entirely new standards for aerial combat. But over time, wear and tear, along with changing circumstances, pushed this star of the skies gradually into the shadows. Now, however, fresh news has once again turned attention toward this legendary aircraft. Lockheed Martin and the United States Air Force are considering a plan to upgrade the oldest F-22 models. An upgrade that could transform the fighter's future and even redefine its role in the global balance of power. In this video, we'll carefully examine why such a decision has been made, what upgrades are being considered, what obstacles stand in the way, and what impact this program could have on the future of aerial warfare. So stay with us until the end, because you're about to hear facts that may completely change your perspective on the future of fifth-generation fighters. Let's first take a look at the current status of the F-22 fleet. At present, the U.S. Air Force operates around 180 of these fighters. But not all of them are combat-ready. A portion belongs to the early versions known as Block 20. These models are used mainly for pilot training and exercises. Simply put, they lack the full combat capabilities of the more advanced Block 30 and Block 35 variants. This means that a significant share of the F-22 fleet is not deployed in real combat and serves mostly in training or support roles. This operational limitation is a serious problem for the U.S. While America also fields the F-35, that jet is a multi-role fighter whose main focus is on diverse missions, including ground strikes. In contrast, the F-22 is a pure air superiority fighter. So the shortage of combat-ready F-22s leaves a critical gap in America's aerial power. On top of that, maintaining and supporting the F-22 isn't cheap. This jet is technically very complex, which drives up repair and upgrade costs. At one point, retiring a portion of the fleet was seriously considered. But global circumstances and growing competition from powers like China and Russia showed that such a move could backfire on the U.S. And this is exactly where the idea of upgrading the older models reemerges. The key question is, why has the U.S. chosen to invest in upgrading the F-22 instead of completely retiring it? The answer can be summed up in several critical reasons. First reason, the shortage of fifth-generation fighters in the U.S. Air Force. As rival countries rapidly expand their own fifth-generation fleets and even begin sixth-generation projects, reducing the number of F-22s could alter the balance of power. Second reason, the sixth-generation fighter project known as NGAD, Next Generation Air Dominance. This program is extremely complex and costly, and likely still a decade or more away from operational deployment. If the U.S. sidelines part of its F-22 fleet during this time, a massive gap in combat capability would open. Third reason, economics. Building an entirely new fleet from scratch would cost far more. Upgrading existing airframes, on the other hand, offers a way to boost operational capability at a fraction of the expense. In today's circumstances, upgrading is the more rational choice. So we see that strategic, operational, and economic factors all point in the same direction, pushing American decision-makers toward revitalizing the older F-22s. But what exactly will these upgrades include? This is perhaps the most exciting part. The proposed modernization combines both hardware and software improvements that could dramatically reshape the F-22. One of the most important upgrades is the addition of infrared defensive systems and missile warning sensors. These allow the jet to detect incoming heat-seeking missiles earlier and respond appropriately. In today's battlefields, where advanced missiles are deployed with high speed and accuracy, such a system is critical. Another major improvement involves radar and electronic warfare systems. A more powerful AESA radar could detect targets at much longer ranges. In parallel, enhanced electronic warfare systems would give the Raptor the ability to counter enemy radar threats. In short, the jet would not only see first, but also prevent the enemy from seeing it. Adding infrared search and track sensors, IRST, is another option on the table. With IRST, the F-22 can detect and track targets without even switching on its radar. This stealthy capability allows the jet to operate undetected even in environments where adversaries are monitoring radar emissions. If you liked this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with future videos. Another key upgrade involves new radar-absorbing coatings. These reduce the aircraft's radar cross-section, further strengthening its stealth. The later the enemy detects the jet, the higher its chance of survival and mission success. There are also proposals for stealthy external fuel tanks. One of the F-22's known weaknesses is its limited combat radius. With stealth-designed external tanks, the jet could conduct missions over longer distances without compromising its stealth profile. But perhaps the most groundbreaking concept is F-22 cooperation with combat drones. This is known as MUMT, manned-unmanned teaming. In this concept, the F-22 acts as a commander, controlling and directing a swarm of attack drones. These drones could fly into dangerous zones and strike high-risk targets, while the fighter itself stays at a safer distance. This capability could turn the F-22 into a true airborne command hub. If realized, these upgrades would not just keep the F-22 alive, but transform it into a more modern, flexible, and powerful asset, one that can work alongside the future sixth-generation fleet. Of course, such a program faces challenges. The first obstacle is financial. Even though upgrades are cheaper than building new fleets, we're still talking about billions of dollars. The second challenge is technical. Integrating cutting-edge technologies into an older design is far from easy. Some of the F-22's original systems were never intended for such modifications, which means extensive redesigns may be necessary. The third challenge is secrecy. Many of the F-22's technologies remain highly classified. This level of restriction makes development and cooperation more complicated. And the fourth obstacle comes from politics and budget battles in Congress. There are always factions opposed to increasing defense spending, making approval of the required budget far from guaranteed. Yet, despite these challenges, if the modernization goes ahead, the F-22 could remain in service well into the 2040s. In essence, the jet would act as a bridge, bridging the gap between today's generation and the future sixth generation. This extra time would allow the U.S. to complete NGAD without rushing, while still preserving air superiority. From a geopolitical perspective, the issue becomes even more important. China with its J-20 and Russia with its Su-57 are both pushing forward to enhance their air power. If the U.S. falls behind in this race, the balance of aerial power could shift. Upgrading the F-22 prevents such a gap from emerging, giving America the breathing space to develop the next generation at its own pace. So it's clear. This is not just a technical decision. It's a grand strategy with direct consequences for the global balance of power. Let's recap. We've seen why Lockheed Martin and the U.S. Air Force have chosen upgrades over retirement for the F-22. The key reasons were the shortage of combat-ready jets, the long timeline for sixth-generation development, and the high cost of building entirely new fleets. We've examined what upgrades might be introduced: advanced defensive systems, stronger radar, stealth fuel tanks, and even drone teaming. And we've acknowledged the significant obstacles: cost, technical hurdles, secrecy, and politics. But if the plan succeeds, the F-22 could once again become a central pillar of U.S. air power, a pillar expected to last at least another decade, paving the way for the arrival of sixth-generation fighters. And now, it's your turn. What do you think? Is upgrading older fighters the right move? Or should the U.S. pour all its resources into the sixth generation? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. We always love to hear from you. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end of this video. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to give it a like. It gives us the energy to keep going. And if you haven't yet joined the Top Strategist family, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be the first to know when we post new videos. Until the next one, take care of yourselves. And as always, think strategically.